I've never lied in my life, which is, of course, the first and biggest lie of this episode. Welcome to What If Horizons, the podcast where reality unravels faster than your childhood belief in honest politicians. Today's question: what if you could only tell lies? Not occasionally fib, not lie when cornered, but literally incapable of telling the truth. Every word out of your mouth distorted, bent, wrapped in sarcasm or nonsense. A world where "I love you" could mean "I've hired someone to kidnap your cat." Where "you look great" might actually be shorthand for "you resemble a confused asparagus in business casual." Sound fun? Good. Let's lie our way into the consequences. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning with no idea anything is wrong. You yawn, stretch, tell your partner, "That was the best sleep I've ever had," even though you were up all night, doom scrolling existential Reddit threads. They smile, say, "Ah, really?" And you respond, "Absolutely," while your bloodshot eyes scream otherwise. Still, everything feels normal, until you walk into work and your boss says, "Can you give me the report?" And you reply, "I finished it days ago," even though it's currently a blank Word doc titled "Insert Genius Here." That's when the confusion starts. Because you meant to tell the truth. You wanted to, but it came out wrong. It came out a lie, and no matter how hard you try to correct it. "Wait, I'm almost done." You blurt. It's the best report you'll never see, because it's made entirely of invisible ink and dreams. Your boss blinks. You sweat. They walk away. Now let's fast forward 24 hours into this mandatory lying life. You're trying to explain the situation to a friend. Something's wrong, you say, but what comes out is, "Everything's perfect. I'm thriving. I might take up underwater basket weaving just to stay grounded." Your friend nods slowly and says, "Have you been microdosing?" You smile like someone whose brain is currently a carnival. "Of course not. I'm completely sober, except for my addiction to chewing rubber ducks." They change the subject, bless their heart, and ask about your family. You tell them, "My parents are reptilian overlords. We only meet during blood moons, and even then it's over Zoom." Your friend, now thoroughly convinced you're either losing it or auditioning for a surrealist improv troupe, awkwardly pretends to check their phone and says they have to go walk their toaster. But here's the kicker. Deep down, you're still you. You know what you want to say. You mean to be honest. You just can't. The truth gets trapped somewhere between your brain and your tongue, like a tweet stuck in draft forever. And what happens when the stakes get higher? When someone asks, "Do you love me?" Or "Did you see the accident?" Or "Where were you last night?" You say, "I love you like a raccoon loves trash." Or, "I didn't even know what cars were until last Tuesday." Or, "I was with a cult learning interpretive dance warfare." It's absurd, but it's all you can say. You become a clown in your own tragedy. A liar not by choice, but by cosmic glitch. At first, people think you're joking. Then they think you're cruel. Eventually, they stop asking questions altogether. You'd think it would make you lonely. You'd be wrong, because it doesn't make you lonely. It makes you dangerous. But let's not jump ahead. We've only begun to scratch the surface of this dystopian carnival. In the next part, we'll dive into the politics of pathological lying, the existential horror of being honest in reverse, and what happens when society mistakes your affliction for charisma. Trust me, I'm lying. By day 3, your life has gone from sitcom misunderstandings to full-blown diplomatic incidents. At the coffee shop, you try to order a regular latte. What the barista hears is, "I'd like a gallon of boiled raccoon tears with a sprinkle of powdered betrayal." She laughs awkwardly. You smile like you're absolutely not unraveling internally. She hands you chamomile tea. You drink it and lie. "Delicious. Reminds me of my grandmother's grave." She gives you a coupon and asks if you'd like to sign up for the loyalty program. You answer, "Only if it involves blood oaths and unlimited coupons for eternal suffering." She nods slowly and writes your name down as Damien. You don't correct her. You can't. At work, your reputation has mutated. Some think you're a surrealist genius. Others think you're having a nervous breakdown while still outperforming them. There's a rumor that you've started an underground startup that sells invisible furniture to minimalist billionaires. Your LinkedIn suddenly has endorsements for advanced deception, creative misdirection, and spiritual gaslighting. You'd object if you could say anything that wasn't completely false. Human Resources finally calls you in. They smile like someone about to casually fire a time bomb. We've noticed some eccentricities, they begin. You respond, it's because I've been communicating with the mole people through the water cooler. They don't flinch. They've heard worse from senior management. Is there anything you want to share? They ask. You nod solemnly and say, yes. I'm pregnant with ideas. Twins. Due this quarter. They blink. Silence. You continue. I understand if you need to contact the Ministry of Truth, but I prefer to keep my fiblets anonymous. And just like that, HR decides to promote you. Not because they believe you, but because in a world where buzzwords pass for communication, your lies sound just like everyone else's mission statements. You're not broken. You're innovative. Socially, though, things are rough. Every interaction is a minefield. You try texting your best friend, sorry I missed your party. What gets typed instead is, I skipped your party to join a traveling mime cult and seduce your cousin. They don't respond. Your phone is now as silent as your dignity. Your dating life? A nonstop performance art piece. You go on a date, hoping for something, anything, normal. The other person asks, what do you do for fun? You reply, I train squirrels in the fine art of sabotage. We meet weekly. They laugh. You don't. They think you're playing a character. You're not. You're trapped in one. Later, they ask, where do you see this going? You say, jail probably, or Idaho. They call you enigmatic. You go home alone. By now you're exhausted. Not from talking. Talking's easy. It's the thinking that drains you. Every sentence must be engineered to dance around truth. It's like playing chess against yourself, while also convincing everyone else you're playing Twister. But something's shifting. At first, your lies cause confusion, then entertainment, then discomfort. Now, people start to listen intently, because the more ridiculous your words become, the more they resonate with people desperate for distraction. I built a sandcastle on Mars, you say, and someone nods, same. I invented bread yesterday, you joke, and a tech bro offers funding. I don't even exist, you whisper, and someone replies, honestly, mood. Lies, it turns out, have followers, and followers have wallets. Suddenly, the world starts adjusting to you, because truth is overrated. Lies are in beta, and you're the glitch that went viral. By the end of week 1, you've become a cult figure. Not a metaphorical one, a literal, incense-burning, robe-distributing cult icon. It starts small. A few online clips of your truthfully dishonest rants go viral. People laugh, then start quoting you. Reality is just a stubborn form of fiction. You say while trying to order soup, and within 24 hours it's printed on hoodies, mugs, and ironic pregnancy tests. You try to explain none of it is real. Unfortunately, you can't. So instead, you accidentally build a movement. A tech CEO asks you to keynote his company's Vision Summit. You agree, only because you try to say no and end up blurting out, I would love nothing more than to endorse this dystopian clown circus. He thinks it's brilliant. You go on stage and deliver what sounds like the manifesto of a malfunctioning AI that just discovered sarcasm. Phrases like, we must innovate by dismantling innovation, and honesty is a pyramid scheme for the emotionally bankrupt, earn standing ovations. People cry. Investors throw money. One person proposes mid-speech. You try to say, this is a mistake. What comes out is, this is the greatest day of my many fake lives. Backstage, someone offers to ghostwrite your autobiography. Another offers to ghostwrite your future. You agree to both, accidentally launching a franchise called Life in Exaggeration. There's a Netflix doc in pre-production before you even sign the NDA you tried so hard not to sign. The strange thing is, as the lies spiral, they begin to form a kind of accidental truth. You say, love is a form of self-delusion wrapped in bad decisions. And someone tweets, this saved my marriage. You joke, nothing matters, especially you. And it trends under hashtag Motivation Monday. One of your interviews goes viral when you try to say, I'm confused and tired, but instead say, every morning I wake up with purpose, passion, and pants. Suddenly you're the face of a lifestyle brand called Pants First, Doubt Later. Meanwhile, your personal life has shrunk to the size of a voicemail box. Your family has stopped calling. Your friends have resorted to sending you memes instead of questions. You tried to tell them, please don't give up on me. But what came out was, I've joined a pyramid scheme for souls. If I recruit 3 more, I ascend. They blocked you. Honestly, you don't blame them. Still, fame has its perks. You now live in a penthouse you didn't technically pay for. You own several businesses, all based on services that can't possibly exist. One sells anti-gravity yoga that literally doesn't involve gravity or yoga. Another lets customers adopt imaginary pets and sends them blank invoices to feed their hallucinations. They love it. People love it. They say you make them feel seen, which is ironic, considering you don't even know what you are anymore. Every night, you stand in front of your mirror and try, just once, to say something true. Anything. A name. A memory. A feeling. But all that leaves your lips is a string of surrealistic drivel about potato monarchies and underwater economics. You laugh. Then you cry. But not too long, because tomorrow there's a speaking tour in 12 countries. You, the liar, have become the prophet. The faker who accidentally told the world what it wanted to hear. And maybe, just maybe, that's the biggest lie of all. Your first protest arrives by drone. Not the angry mob you were expecting, but sleek, brand-friendly quadcopters dropping flyers with your face on them. The message is clear: lie harder. Apparently, people feel your latest lies lack the poetic delusion of your early work. You've become too commercial, one blog writes. Sold out, another claims. You try to say, I'm still confused and desperate, but instead you declare, I am spiritually sponsored by clouds and secretly control 3 currencies. The backlash is immediate. You trend again, this time under #LiarLight. So you escalate. You give a TED Talk titled Why Gravity is a Government Scam. You launch a perfume called Sincerity that smells like toasted ambition and legal disclaimers. You host a reality show where people win by convincing AI that they're figments of its imagination. Ratings explode. A critic calls it the collapse of Western thought with great lighting. You try to disagree. You can't. You nod solemnly and say, exactly as I intended. Meanwhile, politicians come knocking. They want coaching. They've noticed your ability to weaponize nonsense into influence. One senator even asks if you'll ghostwrite their next scandal. You try to say, I'm morally opposed, but instead blurt out, only if we include a subplot involving aliens, vitamin supplements, and a forbidden romance with the Constitution. They nod. Perfect. They whisper, and Venmo you 6 figures labeled consulting. You begin to lose track of reality. Not in the dreamy, poetic way people romanticize in songs, but in the terrifying, tax-deductible way that comes with sponsorship deals and cease and desist letters. You wake up in cities you don't remember booking, surrounded by assistants who only speak in metaphor. One hands you a breakfast menu and says, choose your emotional arc for the day. You ask for eggs. They cry. In public, people treat you like a messiah of misdirection. Strangers shout, lie to me, daddy, on the street. Children ask for your autograph in invisible ink. A woman proposes to you during a panel titled Truth is a Boring Hobby, and when you try to say no, you instead announce, I'd marry everyone in this room if my time machine wasn't currently in the shop. Standing ovation. Champagne. Fireworks. Privately, though, the walls are closing in. You try to talk to yourself in the mirror again, like you used to. You want to say, I'm scared. What comes out is, I'm actually a hologram invented by a lonely dolphin. The mirror cracks. Your therapist, whom you only see via encrypted chat now, tries to help. You type, I think I'm losing touch. But autocorrect, or fate, turns it into, I've never been more in touch with my inner lizard priest. They respond with a thumbs up emoji and schedule another session for next year. Every attempt at truth now feels like a suicide mission for your identity. But here's the problem. The lies are getting harder. You've already said everything outrageous. People want more. They need deeper lies. Original lies. Lies that rewrite physics, ethics, breakfast. And you're running out. So you improvise. You declare that the moon is your ex. That language is a fungus. That time is a pyramid scheme invented by clocks to stay relevant. And the audience? They erupt with joy. Because the more unhinged your words become, the more they believe you're tapping into something primal, prophetic, real. And just like that, you realize the ultimate paradox. The better your lies, the more people believe you. The more they believe, the more they follow. The more they follow, the more they depend on you. You try to say, I'm not your leader. But all they hear is, follow me. I know the way out. It starts subtly. A news anchor misreads the teleprompter and calls the economy a unicorn-themed haunted house. No one blinks. A weather app claims there's a 200% chance of moonlight. People pack sunglasses. A major corporation rebrands as Yes No Maybe Corp with the slogan, "We exist unless proven otherwise." You laugh, or at least you try to, but deep down you know what's happening. The world isn't just accepting your lies, it's adopting them. Reality is being outsourced to confusion, and everyone is suddenly fluent. You attend a conference in Switzerland titled The Future of Meaning. Keynote speakers include a sock puppet named Dr. Kevin, a parrot who only speaks in stock market buzzwords, and you try to say, "I have no idea why I'm here." What comes out is, "I am the reincarnation of language, and my nostrils are portals to the fifth dimension." People weep. A cult forms in the hallway, chanting your name into paper bags. Governments begin to quote you, not ironically, officially. One press secretary, while addressing inflation, paraphrases your line. Money is just collective imagination with a caffeine problem. Wall Street shrugs and doubles down on imaginary investments. A crypto coin named LICOIN launches. It only increases in value the more absurd the news about it becomes. Its tagline, "The truth depreciates." Social norms begin to disintegrate like cotton candy in a monsoon. Honesty becomes a red flag. Job interviews reverse. If you sound too grounded, you're instantly rejected. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? A candidate says, leading a space-faring jazz cult. Hired. Promotions are now awarded for creativity and deception. One employee fakes their own kidnapping to avoid a Monday meeting. Their boss gives them a raise for initiative. You try to confess that none of this was intentional, but all that comes out is, "Of course this was my plan. Ever since the baby barn owl whispered secrets to me in a dream shaped like a tax audit." Someone writes a think piece, what the owl represents in post-truth narratives. It goes viral. You win an award you didn't apply for. At night, you walk through a city you don't recognize. Billboards blink with your face, your slogans, your metaphors mutated into mantras. One reads, "Facts are just opinions that haven't been lied to enough." Another says, "Reality is a mood, and I'm not in it." You want to scream. You want to say, "This is all a mistake. Please stop." But instead, you tell a passing pedestrian, "I was born on a cloud made of regret and raised by GPS satellites." They hug you. They say, "Finally, someone who gets it." You begin to see it everywhere. Children naming their pets after emotions they've never felt. Couples getting engaged by screaming contradictory vows at each other. Schools replacing textbooks with fortune cookies and karaoke machines. One school adopts your accidental philosophy, Existenschmack, where every answer is technically wrong but spiritually correct. Their students become CEOs. You return home, or at least the building that claims to be your home, and find a package. Inside is a mirror. Taped to it is a note. Say something true. You try. You really try. Your lips move. Your heart races. But all that escapes is, "I don't exist, and neither do you, but it's been fun pretending." And maybe it has. Maybe this is what the truth was always trying to protect us from. Somewhere between your third accidental religion and the best-selling memoir you never wrote, the world blinks. It's barely noticeable at first. A reporter says, "Back to you, Steve," but there is no Steve. The anchor stares, confused, unsure why the name escaped their lips. A bakery prints receipts that read, "Thank you for participating in this illusion." A child raises their hand in class and asks, "If everything's a lie, is this question also fake?" The teacher says, "Yes," then quits mid-lesson to pursue their dream of sculpting metaphysical regret out of butter. You start to feel it too. The fabric around you isn't just bending, it's talking back. You try to lie as usual, tossing out, "I'm actually the mayor of Antarctica," and someone responds, "Prove it." That's new. No one used to ask for proof. They just applauded, filmed you, and posted it with captions like "Modern philosopher melts minds with frozen wisdom." Now, there are murmurs, glitches. A man on the subway leans in and whispers, "I know." You ask what he knows. He says, "The silence between your sentences." You laugh it off, sort of. But the air feels denser now, like every word has to pass through layers of static before it can lie. You try speaking to your reflection again. You open your mouth and say, "You look amazing today." But your reflection doesn't move. It stares back, unblinking. You wave. Nothing. You say, "I am the truth." And this time, something changes. Your reflection smiles. It's the first time you've seen that smile since this all began. But it's not yours. Not anymore. Elsewhere, more patterns emerge. Birds begin flying in the shape of punctuation marks. Traffic lights flash words instead of colors. One says, run. Another says, still lying? You blink, unsure. You ask Siri what's happening, and she replies, I'd tell you, but you'd never believe it. The institutions that once worshipped your chaos begin to crumble. The fake news you once inspired is now being rewritten with alarming precision. Articles appear that seem eerily correct. Too correct. Lying messiah suspected to be honest in reverse. Global reality inversion nears critical Massachusetts. One headline simply reads, he tried to warn us with jokes. You're invited to a televised interview, the most high-profile one yet. You show up in an outfit that you think says satirical guru, but now just screams exhausted cult artifact. The host smiles. The camera rolls. She asks, tell us one thing you truly believe. You try to lie. You open your mouth and say, I believe I am made of soft cheese and unresolved childhood trauma. But no one laughs. The audience doesn't even blink. She repeats the question. You try again. I believe gravity is a prank by round earthers. Nothing. Third time. I believe I deserve all of this. And finally, something cracks. The audience leans forward. The lights flicker. The floor seems to tilt ever so slightly. The host slowly removes her earpiece and says, interesting. That one almost sounded real. Backstage, you vomit into a potted plant shaped like your own face. The lie is slipping, and you're not the only one who notices. The more you try to dig deeper into absurdity, the more resistance you feel. It's like pushing against a rubber wall that keeps snapping back harder. You try saying, time is a waffle. But time doesn't laugh anymore. It coughs. It pauses. And somewhere, not far from where you sit, time begins to listen. You wake up to silence, not the comforting kind, but the heavy, blank silence of a room that's no longer sure it exists. Your phone flashes nonsense. No notifications. Just one line repeating across the screen. Say it. You try to speak. Nothing comes out. Your voice box, once a broken factory churning out golden garbage, is now rusted shut. You whisper, pancakes are a conspiracy, and your bookshelf collapses. You try again. I invented Thursdays. The lights flicker. It's subtle at first, like the universe clearing its throat. But soon, every lie you speak causes something to fall apart. Walls fracture, clocks stop, strangers forget where they were going. It's like your untruths are no longer linguistic. They're architectural. You lie, and atoms lose faith in themselves. People start avoiding you, not because they doubt you, but because they believe you too much. The absurd has become contagious. One woman swears you told her that windows were memories trying to escape. Now she won't stop smashing them. A man you never met starts sobbing in the street, saying he can't unhear your declaration that emotions are just unpaid actors in the theater of thought. You try to explain, but explanations are just more lies. A knock at your door. You open it expecting a fan, a follower, a confused philosopher offering you a scented candle of gratitude. Instead, it's a child, maybe 10 years old, calm, unblinking, holding a crayon drawing of you on fire. You ask, where are your parents? She replies, they stopped existing when I understood what you meant. She hands you the drawing and walks away. Just like that. You stand there, in a hallway that may or may not be yours, holding a flaming version of yourself scribbled by a prophet in Velcro shoes. Something is clearly broken. Or maybe, finally, it's being fixed. You wander the city hoping for stability, but everything feels inverted. Advertisements whisper doubts. Billboards blink, truth is pending. You pass a street preacher who screams, the liar will speak the final truth, and we will all be undone. You try to reassure him with a lie. I am a harmless figment. He kneels and begins to pray. Somewhere above you, planes rewrite their contrails into sentences. One says he doesn't mean to. Another says, too late. Even your dreams have turned. You used to dream in nonsense, marzipan elections, dinosaur philosophers, elevator chases with God. Now your dreams are suspiciously normal. You eat cereal. You say I'm tired. And you mean it. You wake up screaming. The truth is invading. And then it happens. You speak a lie. Just a normal one. Something safe. I was never here. And the world agrees. Your home vanishes. Your name is removed from records. Search engines blink like they've forgotten you. Even people who once worshipped you now struggle to pronounce your name, like their tongues can't hold your shape. You're disappearing by lying yourself out of existence. You sit alone, no camera, no lights, no applause, no irony. You want to say something true, just once, just to see what it feels like. You open your mouth, and the lie fights back, because at this point, the lie isn't a glitch. It's you. You wander through cities that no longer have names, just moods. The signs don't read "Welcome to Chicago" anymore. They say things like "This place used to make sense," or "Now leaving," whatever that was. People don't recognize each other. They greet strangers with, "Am I real to you?" and avoid mirrors as if they might accidentally tell the truth through eye contact. You pass through a park where statues of historical figures now have speech bubbles above their heads that say things like, "Oops, and that wasn't me." Children climb them and chant old phrases you once said in jest, now doctrine. A kid tugs your sleeve and asks, "Is it true that language is a prank by air?" You respond, "Of course," without meaning to. The kid salutes and runs away, presumably to found a movement. You're no longer human to them. You're myth. And myths don't get the luxury of being misunderstood. They get worshipped or blamed. You find yourself inside a strange building, part courthouse, part comedy club. Inside, rows of people sit in solemn silence. A stage stands at the front, but there's no microphone, no lights, just a mirror, framed like a painting. You feel pulled to it. It's not a mirror in the usual sense. It doesn't reflect your face. It reflects possibilities. Every version of you that could have told the truth. The version that apologized, that admitted fear, that said, "I don't know," instead of weaving illusions. They're all staring at you, and they look so quiet. You try again. You say, "I never wanted this." But it comes out, "I orchestrated this for sport and sandwich coupons." One version of you in the mirror laughs. Another cries. A third just shakes their head. None of them move to help you. Outside, the sky is wrong. It's not broken, just rewritten. Clouds form sentences. One reads, "You almost had it." Another just says, "Lie less, bleed more." The moon turns red and flashes like a faulty notification. And then, for the first time, someone calls you by your real name. Not the one that trended. Not the one printed on books you didn't write. Your real name. The one you forgot. You turn. It's not a person. It's something else. It doesn't speak. It knows. Its presence is heavy and vibrating, like the smell of lightning or the feeling of déjà vu in a room that shouldn't exist. It shows you flashes, moments you meant what you said, back before the lie swallowed everything. "I'm scared. I love you. I don't understand." You try to speak. Anything. Something honest. But your tongue twists into familiar chaos. Truth is allergic to me. Love is a performance I forgot the choreography for. I am the emperor of backward meanings. The thing doesn't flinch. It waits. You fall to your knees. The weight of your own unspoken truths pressing down. It's not the lies that are killing you now. It's the truths that never got out. The thing points to your chest. You look down. Carved there, not with blood but with absence, is a phrase. "I tried." The mirror shatters. The stage dissolves. The audience vanishes like fog retreating from sunlight. And you are left standing in a world that's gone silent again. No applause. No questions. Only one final journey left. Can a liar who can't tell the truth still find it? The sky is still, and not just in the poetic sense. It's literally paused. Birds hang mid-flap, frozen like decals. Trees stop rustling. Even sound has decided to hold its breath, waiting for something you no longer know how to give. You walk through the ruins of what used to be language. Billboards now just display single punctuation marks, question marks, ellipses, a lone exclamation point flickering like a dying star. You pass someone reading a newspaper upside down and sobbing, even though the pages are blank. They look at you and whisper, "Is it over?" You try to answer, but your voice, your reliable, nonsense-making instrument, no longer fires on command. Because the world isn't asking for more lies. It's waiting for your first truth. You stumble into what looks like a cathedral built by memory. The pews are lined with every person you've ever lied to, or through, or about. Some of them are real. Some are imagined. Some might be metaphors and sensible cardigans. They don't speak. They just watch. At the altar is a mic. No amplifier. No lights. Just the expectation of something honest. You step up. Your heartbeat is louder than applause ever was. You open your mouth, and you say, nothing, at first. But then, slowly, painfully, like peeling layers off a scar, you whisper, I didn't mean for this. And the cathedral sighs. It doesn't cheer. It doesn't erupt. It just breathes. As if the world has been waiting centuries for that one small fracture of honesty. The weight of every false word loosens slightly, like gravity returning after a long vacation. You continue, not by choice but by necessity. I didn't want followers. I wanted to be understood. I didn't want power. I wanted connection. I didn't want to lie. Pause. But I couldn't stop. There it is. The core. The truth that makes your bones tremble and your ego wince. The thing you've buried beneath irony, sarcasm, and spectacularly entertaining nonsense. I was afraid of what the truth would do to me. And then something shifts. The world doesn't crumble. It listens. For the first time, reality doesn't resist you. It doesn't bend to your words or collapse beneath them. It just accepts them. Like a tired friend finally hearing the apology you should have made years ago. You look out at the faces in the pews. They start to fade, not in punishment, but in peace. Your lies no longer bind them. Your truth, small as it was enough. And in that moment, the voice that's been trapped inside you, the one you thought was long gone, whispers, keep going. And so you do, not to entertain, not to distract, but to heal, one broken sentence at a time. You leave the cathedral not as a performer or prophet or punchline, but as something quieter, someone who finally told the truth and survived it. The streets are no longer warped by your words. People walk with purpose again, not because they believe in certainty, but because they've remembered how to walk without it. Children ask questions again, real ones. What happens when we're wrong? What if love is just trying over and over? Is it okay to change our minds? No one looks to you for answers now. And for the first time, you're relieved. You wander through what's left of the world you distorted. Some places rebuild, others don't. But they're no longer bending around you. You're just part of it. A presence, not a punchline. People nod politely, but no longer ask you to lie to them. That burden is gone. You open your mouth to speak, and this time, when you say, I don't know, it stays true. Nothing distorts. The sky doesn't blink. Reality doesn't flinch. Because the truth, fragile and unwelcome as it used to be, has remembered how to sit beside you. And you've learned how to let it. But before this chapter ends, there's one last thread to tug, one last mirror to hold up. Not to yourself, but to the listener. Because here's the thing, what if it were you? What if you could only lie? At first, you'd feel free, powerful, unshackled from awkward truths and inconvenient feelings. No more guilt, no more apologies. You could become anything, everything, so long as it wasn't real. But how long until the weight of it started to rot your insides? How long until the laughs turned into isolation and the admiration felt like surveillance? How long until you forgot who you really were? So now, imagine this. You're standing in front of someone you love. They ask you, are you okay? And the only answer you can give is, I've never been better, while everything inside you breaks. Could you live like that? Would you want to? Because the truth is messy. It stings. It costs you things. But it also connects you, grounds you. It's the one thing that doesn't disappear when the spotlight cuts out and the applause fades. You've spent your entire life trying to sound right. What if, just once, you tried to be real? That's it. That's the whole game. That's the lie that finally set you free. Thanks for walking the edge of fiction with me. This has been What If Horizons. And if you found yourself in any part of this story, if it made you laugh, made you think, made you uncomfortable, or maybe just made you pause, then take a second to like, comment, and subscribe, because we've got a whole universe of what ifs still waiting. And I promise next time, we'll tell you the truth. Maybe.